Hey everybody, good morning. How are you? Happy Friday. Hope that you're doing well. Hope that you and your families are well in your part of the world. It's getting a little bit cold out where I live. You can see I have another one of my tracksuits on. Tracksuit season continues out here. It is getting cold out here. So warming up a little bit, getting ready to go. I'm warming up with my clothes, I should say. Getting ready to go into the cold fall season. But I hope that you're well. I assume that it's also cold in your parts of the world. I think most places now are a little cooler. Maybe a couple places are still getting rain with typhoon season and a little bit of hurricane season here in the US, but I really hope that all of you are doing well. So we made it to Friday. It's the beginning of the beginning of the weekend. It's good for us to get together and continue discussing data science and all that entails. It's good for us to be able to continue our community and our fellowship here on this platform and really on all the platforms that I push out on. I push out on multiple platforms. I think I still do 5 or 6 platforms. So it's good to see people from all over, from wherever you're able to watch my stream. And, I try to make my chats as inclusive as possible. I try to make it so that any level of data enthusiast can participate, whether you're a beginner, whether you're advanced, whether you're an analyst, an engineer, a data scientist, whatever the case may be. You're welcome to join. That's part of what makes, I think, my streams accessible to most people. So really glad to have you here. And I just want to check one more thing, make sure that all my streams are running as intended, and it looks like they are. Sometimes I have to rush to kind of put them together because I either have like a small technical issue or something that's going on, but it looks like all of my streams are running as desired, which is fantastic. Okay. So for those of you that are new, to my channel or my content, one of the things that I like to do is I like to ask people to introduce themselves. I do what's known as my global roll call, and that's where I ask people to let me know their city, state, province, country. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're checking in from. It's a good way for me to just kind of, understand where you're coming from, and also help me see help you see rather the global nature of the data science community, because that's one of the beautiful things, that there's so many people that are interested in data science. So it really helps you appreciate the global nature of what we're doing here. In addition to that, I try to open with an opening note just to try to help kind of set the tone for the session. Sometimes I'll share about my work experience or something else. Just something to kind of help you think, help you maybe carry some away. Maybe you want to comment on it. It's really up to you how you want to participate. So please go ahead and start filling up my chat with the roll call, and then we can kind of just go from there. So I'm already seeing some people in here. Thank you so much. So for today's opening note, I want to do something just a little bit different. I want to do a little bit of a different opening note. I came across a video last night and I posted it on the Discord. And in case you're not familiar with the Discord, I thought I'd post it here and I thought we could look at this. I don't expect that there would be any audio to this, but I think we could understand this with the video. So let me bring up my other camera view. Okay, so there's my camera view. It's a short video I found on YouTube, and I want to know, what do you guys think? And give me just a second, guys. It looks like we're getting double messages on YouTube, and I know why that's the... All right, that should stop the double messages from YouTube in my chat. All right, so I want to take a look at this video, guys. And while you're looking at this video, I want you to tell me, is this machine learning or is this coding? Is this programming? And I usually don't ask people to do this. I don't like calling on people. But if you're going to give me an answer, I want to hear your rationale. Why do you say it's machine learning or it's software development? Software engineering, however you want to call it. Okay, so let's take a look at this video, and then you guys can tell me. We'll watch a little bit again, just so everybody can see it. All right, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chats. So a little bit of a different opening note. Is this machine learning or is this software development? And by the way, I asked that question because I frequently have this discussion with my corporate clients. Super easy to confuse software development and machine learning. And in some cases, that difference is justified, or that confusion is justified, because there's different elements that separate them, right? Different elements that separate. So what do you guys think? Think about it, and I'm going to welcome the chat here. Fatima, you're my first chatter today. You're first today. You're the first. I don't think you've ever been first before, so congratulations. Fatima, our good friend from Meekness, says, "Hey sir, hey Fatima, how are you?" Yassine from Tangier also here. Well, thank you so much, Yassine. Looks like we have at least 3 people from Morocco right now, and I'm sure there'll be more. Rex, good morning from the Big Apple. Hey Rex, good to see you. I'm assuming it's still chilly over there. Once New York gets chilly, it never turns around. Elvis, I think it's your first time here. Welcome. We're so glad to see you. Elvis from Nairobi, focused on the ML. Okay, cool. Very cool. Sam, you're back. Sam, thank you so much for coming back. Good evening from Thailand. Sam's here. Happy Friday dance. Happy Friday to you too. I heard there's a lot of typhoons in Thailand. At least that's what I see on the TikTok influencers that I watch. But hope you're doing well. Okay. Let's see who's next. Leo, our good friend Leo. Good morning, everyone. Leo, I know you already put your answer in the Discord. If you don't mind sharing it here, I'd appreciate it. Okay, looks like you just did that. Thank you. Okay, leaving some space for chat to come. Yeah, sure. That's good, Leo. Hello, sir. I hope everything's okay. Osama from Satat, Morocco. I'm doing great, Osama. Hope you're also doing well out there in Satat. Rex, I'm going to come back to your, or is that it? Yeah, so if anybody else is joining us, feel free to let us know your city, state, country, province. We ask people to introduce themselves, to keep the chat friendly and also keep it professional, right? So actually, let me add those instructions to my Instagram. I haven't done that yet. Okay. All right. So let's see who volunteered their opinion first. I think it was Rex. Okay. So Rex says, could it be both? Interesting question, Rex. Could it be both? Maybe. Maybe. There's something that caught my eye when I first saw this. Obviously there's a reason why I'm sharing this with you guys, right? I mean, I'm sharing it for 2 reasons. One, because as I said, this is a conversation I have a lot with my corporate clients. Super easy to confuse software engineering and machine learning. Super easy. But there is something that caught my eye from the video that made me think about that question. So maybe, Rex, develop that idea a little bit more, Rex. Develop the idea a little bit more. So Sam says, I'm going to go with coding, no self-learning capability. The motion could be propelled, manipulated by the weight sensor, I guess. Right, yeah. So in case you guys aren't clear on that, the video talks about how this plate is basically like a big weight sensor. Right? It's not just like a steel plate. There's sensors to it, right? Whether that's true or not, who knows? Because also, guys, you got to remember something. The reason I watch these videos is because so much of this is just vaporware, right? I mean, I am convinced that there's entire industries out there that are basically just stealing money from venture capitalists, right? And, you know, perhaps they should, because most VCs out there are dumb, right? I mean, most VCs out there are just, you know, predatory psychopaths, right? So yeah, maybe they should be doing that. But you know, a lot of this is just vaporware, right? So is that actually a sensor plate? Maybe, maybe not, right? Who knows? Okay, Fatima says, I think this is coding. Okay, Fatima, why? Help us understand your rationale there. I'm going to ask people for their rationale. Why do you think it's coding, Fatima? And, you know, and again, just to kind of spot the things that I see, what would make you think it's not coding? What would make you think it's machine learning? Right, remember we've talked about this a little bit, right? We've talked about how you should understand your own counterpoints to your arguments, right? If you can write a paper that also presents and addresses your own counterpoints, super powerful, right? So develop the idea a little bit more, Fatima. Help me understand your rationale. Rex says, yeah, it's chilly and cloudy today. Yeah, Rex, you're going to be saying that for like the next 6 months, right? Once New York goes down like that, it doesn't pop back up, right? Okay, Leo. So Leo's going to wait a little bit, not biasing the chat. Okay, cool. Salba, I think this is your first time, so welcome. From India, welcome. Good to see you. Rahul, our good friend Rahul from the northern regions, the mountainous regions of India, says hello. Hey Rahul, hope you're doing well. Leo's calling out Rahul, rightly so. Rizwan, nice to see you. Hey Dennis, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Hope the same for you. Yassine says, I think to be able to achieve this, so much math is required. I think it's hard to write the functions manually. So I think we might need machine learning to approximate the functions. Oh, okay. All right, so Yassine, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that it's ultimately code, but the math and the arrangement of the code was aided by AI. But the final device itself is still like code. Is that what I'm understanding? I think that's a super creative answer. But help me understand let me know if I'm understanding that correctly, please. Why can't I talk today? Oh. Bisma, hello, glad to be here. Glad to see you too, Bisma. Hope you're well out there in Pakistan. So Bisma, the question in front of us is about a video I shared. And is this device software or is it machine learning? Okay. Rizwan says, since I was busy with my placement cell and I want to share my resume, where should I send you? Rizwan, I really don't do resume reviews, you know, unless someone asks nicely, you know, and we can work something out. But I do have a video on jobs and preparing your resume, preparing your portfolio. If you're mentioning GitHub, then I can already tell that you haven't seen my video. So I would point you there first. I really don't do resume reviews for money. I'd rather play golf. I'd rather go outside and play golf than stay inside and read resumes all day. Himanshu, welcome. We asked people to to introduce themselves. Let us know the city, state, province that you're from. Okay, guys. So any more answers on the device? Good answers so far. I'm really curious, Yassine, if I've captured your idea. That it's code that was AI assisted, which is an interesting idea, right? To approximate the functions. I like the way you put that. What do you guys think? Any last answers on our magical device here? Bisma said it's deep learning integrated, obviously. Hold on a second, Bisma. I'm taking a little bit of issue with the way you put that, right? From a professional perspective, you never want to say something like it's X, obviously, right? As a data scientist, super important for us to be able to be open to other people's ideas, right? And you don't want to crush other people's ideas either, right? So when you say the answer is X, obviously, that doesn't show that you're open to feedback or that you're open to hearing other people's suggestions, right? The best all of us can do as scientists is share our opinion and take in other people's opinion and then make a conclusion on our own, right? Or as a group, depending on the project and the scope, right? But the answer is never obvious. The answer could be anything. It's obvious to you, but then you're introducing your bias, right? So, let's be careful in how we shape those answers. Super important when you go and work for a company and within a team, right? Like if you can't master that type of conveyance of your message, hard ceiling to how good you'll be. You'll always be the junior guy on the team, right? So Yassine says, yes, for the functions part, I think approximation using machine learning, but I'm not fully aware how hard it can actually be to manually write the math. So that can impact the case. All right. Yassine, you're on the right track. You're on the right track with some of my thinking, of why I shared this. Himanshu, thank you for the introduction. Hey everyone, I'm from Kolkata, India. My first time hopping into the stream, so I didn't know the introduction part. Yeah, no problem. Himanshu, glad to have you. We ask people to introduce themselves so that they can participate. Super easy way for you to participate. And also, keep the chat professional, right? Which is important in data science. Fatima. If the ball adapts only to these movements only, so it's coding. But if it adapts to movements even if they are new, then it's machine learning. All right. See, now we're on the right track, guys. This is exactly where I was headed with it. I think Fatima is posting an excellent answer here, right? So I would have my thinking is phrased slightly different. So my thinking is this, guys, and also think about what Yassine said, right? But my thinking is this. To me, this device, this demo, right? Because this is a demo. Obviously, they're going to shop this around, try to get money from the psychopaths, right? The demo, and which is to say the resulting code. What about the weight of the ball? Doesn't the weight of the ping pong ball play heavily into this? So to me, that's the deciding factor. What happens if I take a tennis ball and put it on there? Because the weight of a ping pong ball is standardized, right? You can go anywhere in the world, you can get to a ping pong ball, pretty closely, right? So I think that the weight of the object is the deciding factor. If this is like one of those fake it till you make it demo, and it's probably is, it's tuned to the ball. to the weight of the ball. But as Fatima writes, if you wanted different patterns, or as I would say, different balls or different weights, then it would have to be machine learning, right? You would have to have an algorithm. But if you're keeping the ball static, then it's probably just hard coded, right? Software engineering. So Yassine, think about what you said, because you're right. Either way, the algorithms are probably pretty complex, right? But it becomes a lot more complex if you don't know the weight of the object. But if you can lock in the weight of the object in those formulas, it becomes like significantly easier, right? Because then it's just physics formulas, right? So I think that the key to this whole question, or when you look at these, is, are you tuning for the weight of the ball? Right? Because, you know, if you approach it from a software development perspective, like what are your hard coded variables? Well, you got the size of the plate, you got gravity in there, right? You got the bounce factor, the rebound factor of the plate, right? Of the material that the plate's made out of, right? And then you got the weight of the ball. Having all of those locked in makes that math a lot easier than to have the ball be variable, right? So I think, you know, so Fatima, I think hit on the best answer. And I think that, you know, again, if you tie it back to what Yassine said, yeah, the formulas are complex, but they're significantly easier if you can lock in and say, well, it's always going to be, I don't know what it weighs, I don't know, like a 10-gram ping pong ball, whatever it weighs, right? The complexity has now massively reduced in the code you have to write, right? Bisma says, it will be difficult then, I think so, if the weight is smaller. Yeah, but it'll be difficult if there's any variation in weight, right? But that's what I'm saying. The ping pong ball is standard, right? You know, somebody look it up. I don't know what a ping pong ball weighs, but being able to standardize on it makes it easier. But any variance up or down then definitely increases the complexity of the formulas, as Yassine said. And then I think it would become a machine learning problem, right? Because again, if it's standardized, it's a software engineering problem. If it's not standardized and you want variable weights, then I think it's a machine learning problem. If it's trained in a way to take into account the weight, then also, yeah, because it becomes significantly easier, right, Bisma? A lot easier, right? Leo says, one thing I consider is how much the system could handle randomness. Like, as you said, an unexpected ball or the same throw at a different angle. It's just a lot of if or else functions. Yeah, sure. If it's software engineering, sure, it is going to be if else in case statements, right? Yeah. I mean, for example, you'll notice that when they pan out, the entire system, the entire demo is within a case. And I'm guessing they're doing that for crosswinds, right? Because it probably can't handle crosswinds. I'm guessing that it's built in for it to always kind of land in the same spot, right? Because it'd be super difficult to detect or to have a sensor, to have a sensor that exactly knows where a ball landed, right? So I'm guessing that they're using a case to help with that, to avoid crosswinds, and that way the ball, you know, is really, really close to where it took off from, right? And then that's probably baked into their code, right? You can just ignore the weight, just consider the proximity to the sensors spread across the metal plate. Leo, you're assuming that this is an actual sensor plate though, right? I don't know if I'm convinced of that. This could just be vaporware. I'm thinking it could be like vaporware, right? So you're assuming that it's a sensor plate. It might be like a new material that they're trying, right? That's reasonable. But are there really sensors across this plate? Wouldn't the device below it be a lot bigger? Like, I'm not convinced that this is a sensor plate. I think that they're just using sophisticated physics code, right? Even though it could very well be if-else statements. Or as Fatima says, some of these patterns, like when it shows it going in a circle, that could just be baked in, right? Like, that's how you fake a demo, right? You come up with these cool patterns that make the psychopaths drool, and like you lie and you say, oh yeah, we can do any pattern you want, and you can't, right? You just show a circle. So I'm not convinced that this is all like, on the up and up. But I think if you were to go to a full sensor plate and to go to any weights, then it would have to be machine learning, right? Yassine says, yes, I can see it clearly now. Love the talk. Really good knowledge. Well, I appreciate that, Yassine. Yeah. So like I said, guys, these are the types of conversations I have with my corporate clients, right? Now, obviously, I don't deal with this type of stuff. I tend to deal with business clients. But, being able to identify those things and being able to rein back your client and say, well, that's a good idea, but it's not really machine learning. We can solve it with this. We can solve it with Salesforce. We can solve it with data you already have, whatever the case may be, right? Being able to identify those differences is what separates you from just being a consultant to being like a trusted advisor, right? Like, these are those differences where you can say, hey, you know what? I like your project idea, but let me give you my eye. Let me tell you how I see things, and maybe I can offer you options A, B, and C, right? So being able to look at it like this, super critical to becoming that trusted advisor with your clients. Okay? It can be built using layers or metals or other materials. The machine below and wires are barely noticeable. Yeah, but that's what bothers me about it, Leo, right? If this was a full sensor plate, why is the bottom so sparse, right? There should be a lot more mechanics. I mean, there's enough mechanics here to do the up and down movement and the side to side. But as far as reading the sensors, I'm not convinced of that. I think it's just a new material that they're trying to show off or something, right? Akash is, hi Dennis, Akash. Hey Akash, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back. All right, anybody else on this? But good discussion, guys. Good discussion. But again, I'm presenting this because I really think that this type of this type of critical thinking is really important, right? Not all data science is math and formulas, right? And modeling, right? Sometimes you have to just be able to say, hey, wait a minute. Let me take a step back and just, like, what does the business side of me say? What does the meta data scientist in me say, right? Can I do this with code? Yeah, I can. So why am I offering my client a machine learning solution, right? Oh my gosh. Alonzo, let us know where you're from. Hello, sir. How do I get access to your lectures on ISL and the implementation of these models? I don't know if it's my luck, but I've only seen you talking about things not to do in data. Alonzo. Alonzo, my friend, if you don't think these are data science discussions, you have a lot to learn. Data science is not just about code and math. You gotta be a people person when it comes to data science. You gotta be able to take the big picture view when it comes to data science. If you can't do that, if you want to be the math nerd on the team, you're the guy they keep locked up in the back room and they never invite to meetings. Is that what you want, Alonzo? You want to be the guy that nobody invites to meetings? You got to be personable. You got to be a good guy. You got to be able to explain things. You got to be able to deal with stakeholders. You got to be able to manage people. Alonzo, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Yeah, or they can just calibrate according to the object intended before the performance. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's definitely fake it till you make it, right? But you don't need sensors for that. That's just physics, right? It's physics having the standardization on the ping pong ball, right? The weight and shape of the ping pong ball, and no crosswinds. If you can control those things, then it's just physics formulas, right? That you're hard coding. I mean, right? It's physics formulas that you're hard coding into the software. Zero machine learning, right? Haha, the guy they keep locked up got me dying. Hey, it happens, guys. It happens. It happens. I've done it. You know what? Why don't you sit this meeting out? We'll take care of this meeting. Go ahead. Go ahead and sit this one out. No. You know what? It's my fault. I scheduled this meeting right after your lunch. Go ahead and take an extra lunch. Sit this one out. I'll go talk to him. Go ahead. You don't want to be that guy. Alonzo, this is all data science. This is all data science. Right? If you don't see that, then I'm sure that help desk, you should go work level 1 help desk. They talk about computer stuff all day long. Give you a nice headset, a nice comfortable chair for you to sit in. Alonzo, maybe you should consider level 1 desk. Okay? Not mad, just disappointed. Mutahira? I hope I'm pronouncing that. Mutahira, we ask people to introduce themselves, okay? Let us know your city, state, province, country, all that good stuff, okay? Akash says, I just received a job opportunity as a data scientist at a MNC in India. I currently work as an associate research analyst at data science job role. I currently work as an associate research analyst. The data science job role requires expertise in feature extraction. Great, congratulations. MNC, I'm assuming means multinational corporation. Congratulations. That sounds like an excellent opportunity. Glad to hear it, Akash. Let us know when you start and all that. Rex, thank you so much for playing host duties and giving the playlist to Alonzo. Leo, I know it sounds funny, but it happens, guys. It happens. Guys, maybe I should spend just a little bit of time on that. Dealing with stakeholders is a whole other ballgame. And it's a whole chapter in my book. If you want to support me, my book is available on Amazon. I wrote it as a whole chapter in my book because dealing with stakeholders is a whole other animal. And they do not, there's no academic program out there that teaches it, right? The stakeholders are ultimately business people. Our friend Akash here recently got a job, multinational corporation. That's not rare, right? Most of us, if you stay in the data science field, most of your career is going to be spent at a multinational large corporation, right? That's by and large who hires data scientists, right? So your stakeholders are not other coders, they're not other programmers. Their knowledge of data science is whatever they heard on CNBC that morning. Like that's it. Like that's literally all they know, right? And in the US, I don't know if this is an international saying, but in the US, we have a saying, when you're speaking to an audience, when you're speaking to somebody else, you have to meet them at their level. right? Their level of knowledge, and their level of knowledge in most cases is going to be lower than yours, right? So you have to be able to, kind of tune yourself to be able to talk to them in a pleasant way, in a way that they will understand you. So yeah, looking at the ISL book might be good for your knowledge, but if you don't view stuff like this, the ability to express yourself like this, then you really don't understand data science, and you're going to do terrible with stakeholders. To me, the more time I spend in it, the more I realize that data science is not a science. It's a people business, right? No one's paying you for how fast your code runs. They're paying for you to have an impact on their business. That's really what matters. So when I do these business talks or these, other like related but a little tangential things, it's all building your data science skills. I mean, it's really all it is. I mean, and if you don't view it that way, then your career will be very short or very capped. And you don't want that, right? Because right now, I understand that you guys are, most of you are starting out, kind of early in your careers, but you're going to want advancement. You're going to want to be promoted, right? I didn't get to chief data scientist because, I talk like a math robot. You got to be a personable, a personable guy, right? You got to have some personality. You got to have some showmanship. You got to have good presentations. You got to be able to, know your audience, right? So, you're going to want this later in your career, but the time to start developing the skills is now, right? Took me 3 whole years. Sam says, took me 3 whole years to get comfortable with stakeholder relationships, both internal, external, and vendors. My experience as a chemical engineer from oil and gas industry. Yeah, Sam, and you're bringing up a good point, right? When I say stakeholders, for the most part, I do refer to the people you're presenting to, the people you're writing the algorithms for. But yeah, Sam's right. You have external relationships too, where you got to be a good guy there too, right? You're gonna be dealing with vendors. You're gonna be dealing with competitors in some cases, right? You're gonna be dealing with people in your trade industry or whatever, right? So yeah, it's not just stakeholders, for who you're working for. It's other relationships. So thank you for reminding me of that, Sam, because he's right. There's multiple types of relationships you're going to have to keep up with. But yeah. Alonso says, I'm sorry if my question was hurtful. No, not hurtful, just disappointing. I'm at the first stage of learning. I am willing to learn the concepts of DS. Thank you for the playlist, Rex Racker. Yeah, Rex, thank you so much for playing wonderful host over there on Twitch. Yeah, I mean, I understand these are your first stages, but your first stages should probably be about the greater understanding of data science, not just the ISL book. The ISL book is excellent, don't get me wrong. But, data science ultimately, this goes for everybody. It's a people job. It's a people job. If you can't find the people aspect of data science, then your career will be very, very limited. Extremely limited. You're going to be the guy they keep in the back room and never talks to stakeholders. You do not want to be that guy. And there's plenty of the idiot influencers out there that are training people to be that guy. That's why I'm so down on, the ones who overemphasize the code or overemphasize the math, because it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what data scientists actually do in the real world. Salman says, I am from India, MSc, first year data science student, but I am facing a lot of problems understanding regression analysis and logistic regression. Can you please guide me? Is that your first class, Salman? I imagine that's one of your first classes, right? I mean, regression is pretty standard for most programs. Let me know, is that your first class? All right, so let me go back here. I have work, Akash says, I have working experience with decision trees, logistic and linear regression, but not much about feature extraction. I have theoretical understanding, but none practical. Can you share some info? It's too broad of a question. And it feels like you're asking for a shortcut, and there's no shortcut in data science. So how'd you land the job? Yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot of independent study. That's just too broad of a question. I mean, feature extraction is like at least a month's worth of study in a formal program, right? Yeah, so sorry, Akash, you're just gonna have to take it upon yourself to do study and prep, right? I mean, what are you doing watching streams? You should be studying right now. Get off the stream. And I want to know how you landed the job. Yeah. Salman says, my teacher teaches regression by derivation and it's very hectic. Okay. All right. Leo, the stream is going so fast, I don't know which part you're laughing. You're going to have to be specific, please. Yeah. Yeah, guys, you know what? I feel like for better or worse, I feel like maybe I've come down on a couple of things today. You know, I've been very strict on a couple of things today. But I guess it just shows like the difference between what people think data science is versus what data science actually is in the real world. And overall, it can still be a healthy thing if you're willing to accept that a good data scientist is willing to change their mind, right? A good data scientist never gets married to an opinion. They're just doing their best to come up with a solution, right? So be willing to say, hey, I may have learned this, but the reality is actually this, right? I hope that makes sense, guys. Abdul, good to see you here. Abdul is here. Good advice. I think I should do the same. Which part are you referring to, Abdul? I'd like to hear that, please. I'm a lawyer by the way, enjoying the stream. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Abdul, remind me where you're from. Was it Nigeria? I think, is that it? You're a lawyer in Nigeria? Yeah. Remind me, Abdul. Let me know. Okay. Oh, from Saudi. Excuse me. You're a lawyer in Saudi. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, cool. Let me know what the good advice you were referring to. The advice is just coming out quick today, Abdul. So you're gonna have to remind me which one you're referring to. Okay, Leo says Voldemort Gaming. Voldemort Gaming. Let me see if I can find it. Hello, I got offered a startup which started in 2023. Role is to enter data, create basic pivot reports in Excel and verify it. Is it okay for my first job in a data science field? 14,000 a month, Indian rupees. You know, I gotta say something, guys. People in other countries are so comfortable sharing their salaries. Because I get asked my salary all the time in, particularly in YouTube comments for some reason. People are very, very comfortable doing that. Well, what do you think? Like, why does the question exist in your mind? Why is there a doubt in your mind? So let us know, Voldemort. Like, why are you questioning the offer? Like, what is the sticking point? So let me know. Let me know in the comments. Give me more information, because I guess I'm not really seeing a question there, right? Like it's your first job, right? Okay, but like, what's the doubt? What's the doubt in your mind? Let me know. Dev Joseph, Dev, we always ask people to introduce themselves. Let us know your city, state, province. You know, it's a way to participate and also keep the chat professional, please. Yeah, so Alonzo, it looks like Rex gave you that playlist, so go ahead and take a look at that. And also, Solomon was asking about regression. So Solomon, you also might want to take a look at, I think it's part 1 in which we did regression. So if you want to look at that same playlist, it's available on YouTube. It's my introduction to statistical learning book. I'm pretty sure it's part 1 that has regression. And if you'd and what I'd really recommend to you is if there's resources for tutoring or extra help from your professor or from other people, I would really recommend that. Because if you're having troubles with regression, then the rest of your program is probably also going to give you trouble. Right? Like, it's not going to get a lot easier than the regression side of things. So you want to consider, you know, getting the extra tutoring now to get you on, to get you to a firm point, and then start working a little bit more. You know, or you know, to get a grip on the regression side. The reason I'm saying that is because sometimes, you know, sometimes like if you're on X or on something else, particularly on X, there'll be an old guy like me that comes around and says, well, you know, all machine learning, all data science, it all comes back to regression analysis. And everybody says, oh, you know, okay, boomer, and all that other nonsense that people say, right? But the reality is that it's true, right? Because regression analysis is, what is the feature? How much weight do you want to give to that feature? You multiply them together and you get an answer. Believe it or not, that's like 95% of data science. How you come up with those features and how you come up with those weights, that's the uniqueness of each algorithm, right? But it's all regression. What is the feature? What is the weight? Multiply them together. That's literally 95% of data science. So you got to get a grip on that, Solomon, right? You got to get a grip on how that works in the most basic of models, which is the regression model. And if you can understand regression, you can usually understand logistic regression, right? It's a short hop between the two, right? So you should be able to do that. But get a grip on it now. Otherwise, it's going to be an uphill walk for the rest of your program. All right, so Yassine says, if I might ask a technical question, Yassine, you can ask whatever question you want. How can we study causality if most what's available in observational studies? When can we know if it's worth doing an experimental study if resources are available? Yeah, that's a good question, Yassine. To be clear, I'm not putting myself out there as a causality expert. If anything, I'm an advanced beginner at best. So I'm not sure if there's a way for me to encapsulate this, or if honestly, if I'm the best person to ask this. I think you asked a similar question in Discord, and I'll just give you a similar answer. You know, the only thing I know is that there are some things that causality cannot be used for. NLP, image processing, things along those lines, right? So that's the only thing I'm sure of. But otherwise, when should you do causality versus not? I'm not 100% sure. Something you could consider is that they're not mutually exclusive, right? You can do both. So sometimes when you do studies or when you're coming up with theories or whatnot, there's this word or this concept known as confluence. And that's where you do your study and then you do like a side study to help support your existing study. So I can see scenarios where you do a study and then you use some of the causality metrics, you know, like a side study, to provide confluence for your algorithm, you know, or for your product or whatever it is you want to convey to the stakeholders. So that's one of the few situations that I've thought of where, well, why not both, right? I don't have to exclude causality studies from my algorithms. I can do both. So that, I think that's the best answer I can give you, Yassine. And again, I'm saying that because I'm fully acknowledging that I may not be the best person to be asking about causality, right? But that's what I would say. That you can use it as confluence. They're not mutually exclusive. There's nothing stopping you from running both studies if you think that the data fits it, right? Like what's the case against doing it both other than time constraints? But that's how I would use it. Think of it as confluence for whatever your root study is, your root algorithm is. So I hope that helps, but that's really all I'm comfortable saying, because again, I want to stay in my lane, and I'm not a causality expert. That's the best I can give you. Connor, I think it's your first time. Welcome. Hi, Dennis. I'm an information systems major in Ireland. I think about some kind of introductory statistics projects to do with language learning. Have you done anything in that sphere? You mean like NLP, like natural language processing? Sure. Lots of things you can do in natural language processing. Introductory statistics projects. What did you have in mind for that? Give me some more details there. Like, what did you have in mind as far as introductory statistics? I mean, I guess I could think of a couple, but I don't know. Let me know what you have in mind there. That could be an interesting project at some point, because there are some things that I've done in NLP that are statistics based, but not, nothing too exciting. But let me know what you have in mind there, Connor. I think you'd have to define your ideas for the project a little bit more, okay? Oh, right. So I forgot to mention something. I'm going to put this in the Discord later today. But on Sunday, I'm going to continue my tutorial series. And we are going to be looking at multiple neural network frameworks. So we're going to do a Keras versus PyTorch matchup. Now, you guys know how I feel about Keras, and you guys know how I feel about PyTorch, but I wouldn't be much of an open-minded data scientist if I wasn't willing to do a head-to-head matchup, right? That's me being open to other ideas, other solutions, other possibilities, right? I can't be telling you guys to be open if I always say, well, we're only going to use Keras, right? So on Sunday, for Sunday's tutorial, we're going to do PyTorch versus Keras. As much as it pains me to say that we're going to write PyTorch code, we got to do it. We got to be open, right? So that's Sunday's tutorial. If today's your first time here, on Sundays, I tend to do a little bit of a longer tutorial. It's going to be more instructional. And the first time I did that, it was with the 8 sections of the Introduction to Statistical Learning book. And then we've done some individual tutorials. And then, guys, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, we're going to start my new series on writing an entire project with me. We're going to do an entire project end to end, just the way you would do it in a corporate environment. So that's starting next Sunday. But for this Sunday, we're going to do Keras versus PyTorch. I think it'll be fun, right? If you guys want to join, Sunday, 1500 GMT, I'm going to start putting out the promos for that today. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes, right? Part of the fun is sometimes things go right, sometimes things go wrong. And that's okay, right? So that's coming Sunday if you guys want to see it. All right, guys. So thank you so much for the time that we've spent together. Really appreciate the investment here. As I said, I know that I, emphasized a couple of things today, but these things are important. These are the things that ultimately make you a better data scientist and really limit or expand your career. So I appreciate all the time we spent together. And I stream every day at 1500 GMT. So until then, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.